Alright champions, test, test, test. White balance, white balance, white balance. So we're back with Jed's Maton. Gonna start putting some heat into this bridge and separate it from the body completely. It's already separated if you watched the last video. I've got my little heater unit down here from Luthiers Mercantile International, I think it stands for. So it's basically just one of those typical sort of thermo modules with a heater element, and they make these custom little heating mats, which are handy. Means you're putting heat only in where it's required. They make them for fretboards, different size fretboards, you know, little mandolin ones as well. You name it. They've even got like bridge plate ones for the inside, all sorts of applications. So check out their stuff if you're in the trade, if you haven't already, which you probably have. So we're going to gently heat this area over the long term and just come in from time to time and see if it's starting to let go. Again, not forcing anything, not threatening ripping any timber fibers or anything, just with the palette knife, which will also be slightly heated and wet. We're going to just work our way in there very gradually and slowly and make sure we don't do any damage to the soundboard, because there's probably already some significant damage from previous repair attempts. And hopefully that's not a epoxy that it was glued on with last time, but we'll see. Now it's very important to keep that thermocouple tightly affixed to the heating blanket, and just make sure nothing can move, because if you walk away and leave this thing and that sensor's gone, it'll just keep heating up till it catches fire. So do not leave these things alone. You got to stand there and stare at them. I've just got a bit of tape across there to just keep everything in check, and then I'm going to put a little bit of like a tea towel on it, like a insulative towel, just to keep the heat localized in this area and stop it from just wasting all the heat to the atmosphere. Now I've just got that towel on there, just evening out the pressure from that wooden block and also keeping the heat where it's being delivered. And we'll switch her on and stare at it intently. I've got that set to 110 degrees Celsius as it slowly rises. Just keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't overshoot. I found 110 is pretty gentle. Sometimes you've got to go a little bit harder for large surfaces like fingerboards, that kind of thing, but you want to sort of start from a low temperature and work your way up, not go hell for leather. Alright, so I realised I left my tripod at home, so I can't hold the camera and do a two-handed operation at once. I've removed the bridge, and you can see here that contact patch I'm talking about. So here's that big slot routed out for the pickup, and it's hanging on by about 2 millimeters, if that, at the front edge, and maybe like 8 millimeters at the back edge, because it's like, you know, the intonation. So what happens is that creates a shear point in the top, and the bridge is supposed to be offering the structural support there, because obviously the top's got zero structural support because they've cut that out. But the only structural support that the bridge can offer is provided by this little 2 millimeter pivot point, which of course lets go. Now, when I slid the palette knife under that, there was no resistance at all in this area, so that had already let go. And then the back edge had let go as well. So, you know, from a purely mechanical point of view, this design doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. So you can see here a little bit of lifted grain there. We'll glue that back down. We've got the two locating pins there, which we can reuse. We'll clean up this area. We'll mask it. We'll actually put the bridge back on and put masking tape, put the bridge back on, and then scribe the masking tape to the bridge outline, the footprint of the bridge, and then we'll apply the glue once we've cleaned up both surfaces and flatten them. Do a dry run and make sure that everything's going to line up without too much pressure, and then we'll actually do the gluing stage.
Alright champions, so what I'm doing now, if you can hear me, is I'm gently heating the top from the outside, and I'm also heating a thick steel plate. Very scientific method here, I know. So that's shaped to fit around the bracing inside. We're going to sandwich some baking paper wrapped plywood on the top, just so nothing sticks to the finish. And we're going to put the heated plate on the inside, and we're going to reef it back this way to try and counteract the bowing, the buckling of the top. It's not too bad on this one. I've seen a lot worse. Probably because they've put some reinforcement fiberglass, literally a piece of circuit board, like copper clad fiberglass on the inside there, to reinforce where the ball ends would otherwise dig into the bridge plate. As the previous repair has done that, so that's probably prevented it a little bit and reinforced that area. I've put another piece on here on this side just to pack it so it's level with the other side where that piece has been glued. It's pretty tricky. There's always something that complicates a simple repair, but essentially what we're going to do is heat that from the outside as we are and from the inside of that steel plate, and then we're going to clamp it and we're going to pull it this way with a strap attached to the end pin, and that's going to counteract the ramping that's sort of the belly that's happening in this area. Alright, there's the rig. It looks pretty brutal, and it kind of is, to be honest. But it works. Really, when you're gluing these bridges on, well, the same goes with any timber joint, really. If you need to force it with clamps, if you need to apply more than a couple of fingers worth of clamp pressure, you're doing something wrong, because that glue is not going to stay holding that joint, despite how strong all the marketing bullshit says. Your timber joint should go together with almost zero force. Obviously you've got the hydraulic pressure of the glue to deal with some joints, mortise and tenons, biscuit joints, that kind of thing, but the joint should hold itself together. The clamps should just be there to hold them together till the glue cures. When you're doing a dry run, you pretty much should be able to make the joint go home with almost zero force. So by getting that top belly taken out, we don't have to try and either shape the existing bridge to the curve of the top or clamp it with excess pressure. It'll just sit right. And to put that steel plate in there, I just use my TIG welding gloves. Lincoln for drinking. About the only time I've had a chance to use them recently. I should get back into the welding. Maybe I will. Need to get a high current output, mains output in this garage. Need a 15 amp output to do it properly. Alright, so you can see that belly and the sort of twist that was happening there is now gone. The two sides are sitting relatively level. So now we've got to clean up that bridge patch and get ready to glue the new bridge back on. Now it's sitting relatively tight all the way across, just holding it under the weight of the bridge there. So that's not going to take a lot of effort to clamp, which is what we want. So they've got these little locating pins made out of, I don't know, nylon or something. They go correspond to those holes in the top. Everything's CNC machined, so everything lines up pretty well. So what I'm going to do is mask the body with some low-tack masking tape, and then we're going to put the bridge in its place over the masking tape, and we're going to scribe the outline of the bridge in the masking tape, just so we've got a footprint of the bridge, and we can apply the glue and there'll be minimal cleanup because it'll go onto the masking tape instead of onto the body. So I've got my two little holes for the locating pins. It's hard to do this while holding a camera. Now the bridge is located, no movement laterally, so I'll just go around with an art knife, X-Acto, and just put a score mark in that masking tape enough to remove the section under the footprint of the bridge. Alright, so now we've got the perfect footprint cut out, maybe 0.1, 0.2 of a mil larger than the footprint, which is kind of what we want. We don't want to sandwich any little pieces of masking tape under there that we've got to try and remove later. So we're ready to start cleaning up this area and get ready to re-glue it. Alright, so I've got my hot hide glue here, ready to go. Stinks, but it works well. And this is, I don't think it's available anymore actually, but this is the glue pot I got from Stuart McDonald a couple of years ago. It holds it at a steady 68, 70 degrees C, I think, something like that. Alright, and there she's glued up with the super special bridge clamps there. I like these ones because they've got a little leveling foot as well. So we've hit a brace wherever we can. We're actually on the cross brace here on that one. and this one. In the center obviously there's no brace because the cross brace joins over here somewhere. So I've got a backing plate roughly the shape of the bridge plate just to even the pressure out so it's not just pulling up in that one spot. So now I'll remove the masking tape, any other little beads of glue remaining, and then we'll leave it to set overnight before we go to the next step. Alright champion, she's strung up, ready to go. We've got a new Tusk saddle in there, compensated. I just made that out of a blank because it's a slightly thicker than standard saddle on this, so you can use a standard one but it sits at a bit of an angle and it's not great for the durability of the bridge, which is probably what happened to the previous one. Got a new set of pegs in there, nothing special, just your average plastic ones. Could have gone Tusk there as well, but I don't think there's any real tonal advantage to that. You can see there's a nice tight glue join there, sitting nicely against the top, and no glue on the raw timber or the surrounding lacquer, but we've left the grunge as requested. We've got a new nut in there. The existing nut I thought I might be able to salvage, so I started working on that, but when I removed it and removed the little mountain of glue that was happening under it, which was actually packing it up by almost a millimetre, the nut height was insufficient, so the slots weren't deep enough, and I didn't feel like reinstalling a nut on that mountain of glue that was underneath it. All the glue residue cleaned off okay. There's still some scuff marks on the lacquer from the previous person that installed that nut, but it's pretty minimal. The little blobs of glue actually let go from the lacquer rather well. That's the beauty of having a slightly grungy guitar, nothing sticks to it, eh? So I dismantled the preamp and cleaned the battery contacts with Scotch Brite, tinned them, and reinstalled them so we're able to reuse them. These were the raw copper type, not the plated chrome type. The plated chrome ones were made out of steel, and the steel just rusts. You've got to actually replace them, but Maton, I believe, does supply them as a spare part, so that's good. You can get a new pair of them and just solder them in, but make sure you get them on the right angle. The pot's cleaned up okay. We got all the dirt and hair and stuff out of them, and blasted them with compressed air and re-lubricated them, and they came good. There was some slight intermittency with the pickup as restringing it. I think maybe some damage has been done to the piezo elements from previous repair attempts, because when tuning up the strings, bringing them up to tension, there was some intermittency there, which is generally normal with these, but it was a little bit more than I'd expect. It's stable now, but if the customer has any future issues with that, we'll probably have to replace the piezo crystals, which they do offer again as a spare part, which is good. In addition to all that, there was some minor bracing repairs inside. Just had to cinch them up with a little bit of glue in some spots, probably because of some percussive action in this area by the looks of it, which is never a good thing for bracing. And replace the jack, which is another weak point in these. They often lose their contact. It actually has a switch built in which turns the isolates the battery when it's not plugged in, and usually that's the first thing to go. And that's the ones there. You can see that extra contact there. Normally it's a normally closed contact like the tip one there, but this is a normally open contact, so that actually connects the battery ground, I believe, and when there's no plug plugged in, the battery's disconnected. You can just do that with a stereo plug. I don't know why they've done this. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's Maton being Maton. And because they go so often, I took the liberty of ordering a box of 100, special order from the UK of that particular type, because you can't get them off the shelf anywhere. So if you need one, ask me and I'll sell you one for, like, I don't know, half of what Maton charges, so like 25 bucks a jack, maybe. So with all that, we've set up with some Ernie Ball earthwood strings there, medium lights, and we're sitting at about 1.7 to 1.5 mil, which is almost electric type action. So I'll let him know that through the seasons, just keep an eye on that. We might have to adjust the truss rod slightly to suit, because when you're right on the edge, there's not a lot of room for movement. Acoustics do move a lot more than electrics. Generally you have slightly higher action on acoustic to allow for that movement, but there's no need to have that for playability's purpose. It's just for variability and humidity. So if you're willing to adjust the truss rod, you can optimize it through all the seasons. So we'll let Jed know that it's ready to pick up. As always with setup jobs, anything that affects the playability of a guitar, I will sit them down and say, have a play, get a feel for it. If you want it tweaked, if it's way off the mark, we can do it right now, because I never quite know exactly what someone's perfect setup is. It's sort of like, it's a taste thing. That way, if they want to change it slightly, we can do it on the spot. Now I also tell them, if you take it home and you've been playing it for a while and you're starting to notice something's not quite right, just bring it back and I'll sort it out. No extra cost for that.
And here's the man himself.
How good is this? Oh my god, it's back and it's better than ever. Thanks, Brad.
This is Jed, YouTube.
It's my old mate, her name's Battle Scarred Guitar. Look it up on Spotify, there's a song after her. And
What did you do to it, mate?
I played it for about 1,500 shows without a service. Well,
Yeah, right.
I kind of did, but I got about 1,500 shows out of it before Brad had to do his magic with it and, you know, brace it back up and, you know, put a brand new saddle on it.
She's seen some stuff.
Yeah, if you watch part one, you'll get an idea of what was happening when Brad first looked at it and took it apart. But so this is the result, and it's been a bloody wait worth waiting for, if I can say it that way.
Sorry about that, mate.
Oh no, you're a man. You're a man in demand.
Yes. So I'll pop up your social media stuff if people want to follow along. So look in the description down below.
Yes, please. Yeah.
And,
Jed's Shed is a group that I've got going because Facebook. If you like and follow my page, you're not going to see my posts unless I actually pay money to boost it to you.
Yeah.
Trying to like and follow me. So I created this group, which seems to get a little bit better traction when I post something, and also allows the people in my group to sort of post things themselves, you know, that are of interest to the Jed's Shed group. You know, whether it's being at one of my gigs or, you know, hearing one of my songs on the radio or one of those kind of cool things, and we, you know, get to take some photos with people out on gigs and post them up in the Jed's Shed. So you'll see.
No worries. Well, I'll put a link up. People can check that out, and if they see you locally, are they looking out for? What's your stage name, if you will?
Jed Zarb, J-E-D-Z-A-R-B.
There you go.
Yeah, good old Maltese name. Got the flat ass to go with it. Maltese thing.
That's all right, mate. You can always work on that. You can do some squats.
Yeah, no amount of squats, and you know, forearms, arse and forearms, just a Maltese, just it's just, you know.
Classic. Well, thanks for your patience, mate, and I hope you enjoy the guitar for many more years to come.
Thank you very much, Brad. I'll try to be nicer to it.
You know how much I love working on Matons, but nah, they're alright. They're okay. You're watching Maton. I like you, Maton. Stop sending me hate mail.
Well, can I say one thing about this Maton? I've played Seagulls and Alvarez's and all kinds of guitars, and they're not nowhere near as hardy. This thing's done probably 1,500 shows. It's got one small crack in it.
Is that from the percussive?
Oh yeah, I might have got a bit excited and punched the front of it.
Don't we all?
Stage, just to get that big Maton thump, you know,
in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, and it's really stood up to the test of what I've given it, and on no other guitar that I've ever played has. So you know, go Maton for that. You know, it's just it's a ripper.
See, Maton, I'm not all negative here. No worries. Well, thanks for your patience, mate. I hope you enjoy it. And thanks for watching, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Brad. Merry Christmas to all your followers.
Same to you, mate. Same to everyone. Take it easy.